2, 1. Welcome to Double KO Radio, guys. And today we have a new challenger.
Here comes a new challenger.
So before we get into this, Capcom has announced a new product. Was it yesterday? Right? Yesterday?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway,
before yesterday.
concept of time doesn't matter in this podcast. You're gonna listen to it when you listen to it, right? So, the day before they actually announced the product we're talking about today, they let out a trailer that showed a close up of buttons, right? Arcade stick buttons, and they were showing a bunch of old school classic titles in the background. But the problem is the wording they used for that advertisement was "Here comes a new challenger." So here's why that's a problem. The Street Fighter V community has been used to a certain amount of season pass DLC for the last 3-4 years, and all of them have consisted around roughly the same amount of stuff, like 6 characters. And they have extra stuff that's like the Capcom Cup promotional like stage and skins and stuff like that. But this past year, after their season, their esports season for their tournaments, only thing that was announced was one character, and that was Kage.
And this was that letter gave his last announcement when he left, because that was his last thing.
Yeah. So the issue here is that whether or not they're having another season or any kind of DLC happening within this year has just kind of been blacked out on information. Like, a lot of fans have been asking, well, what is going on? Is something happening? Is something not happening? And there hasn't been any real communication around that. So that's the issue. So because there hasn't been any kind of information around that, every big tournament for Capcom's CPT Capcom Pro Tour, people just expecting some kind of announcement.
But why would they be expecting something?
I don't know, because usually, if you remember, like usually when Capcom starts preps people how they prep their fans on how they're announcing stuff is through a picture on Twitter,
the build up.
Through another picture with Ono-san with like his little Blanca toy with something vaguely in the background that you can't really see or can't see. It builds up, so something's coming. Nothing's been happening, but these fans have just been kind of rabid about like there being something. There has to be something, even though they're not getting any kind of information. But that also comes with them just saying no, there's not anything. That they're not willing to say that, hey, nothing's coming right now.
They're not even saying it. Yeah. They're not even saying publicly nothing is coming out, though. And they know that they're waiting for something, so why not say it?
Yeah, they know everybody's waiting. It's technically the biggest esport game still to this day in terms of how much money you can make, in terms of how many tournaments there are. Well, Tekken's catching up. Still not as much money. And our
fighting games.
Fighting games. Yeah. Sorry. If I didn't say fighting games, I definitely meant fighting game esports, not in general.
I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I think the closest thing that'll come to it is NRS's, but I don't think NRS's is as much money as right now. It was recently announced. It was recently announced that they're doing a different type of more like a pro tour kind of thing. I think theirs was a little different before, but it's more like has that aspect that all the other pro tours I've been having.
Yeah, we can safely say Capcom's been the more consistent one in that. Yeah, absolutely, pioneering that shit too. So when it comes to that money.
Lo and behold, today, yesterday, sorry, they announced what their product is, and what it is.
What is this? A new game?
It's 16 old games.
Wait, what? So you said it's a new challenger?
Yeah, a new challenger, meaning I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's the closest thing I could think of when it comes to saying it's a new challenger. It's like the closest thing to being like in the market of how the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, and like the PlayStation One were all released because
Yeah, like
it's
emulators.
yeah, like the emulator type of stuff. But the thing is, this isn't something that's cheap because it has essentially like arcade style
It's a
like
whole cabinet, right?
yeah, like just but only like if you were to put it on people's laps or on the desk, like it's conjoined. It's like a conjoined twins of arcade stick. There's one player one
Oof.
side and player two side, and it's about how long is it? It's like 29 inches long across,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it has sandwall parts and all that stuff. So it has good parts, like the usual parts people use for arcade stick, like the popular type. There
Built-in
are other, but
Wi-Fi.
it has built-in Wi-Fi because all these games now, there can be leaderboards for them online that they keep track of all the scores for them online for you. Um, and just to be clear, it's not something that you connect to any other console. It's its own thing. It gets connected through an HDMI cable to your TV.
Oof. And the cables that come with the thing, right?
Um, I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either.
Um, and the power for it, because you got to power it, is USB power source.
It's micro though. It says it's micro USB power. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you need one of those cables too, and it's roughly around $260 right
God
now.
damn. God, that shit made me fucking see.
But the thing is, it's two arcade sticks, kind of,
It
right?
don't matter.
Because you right now, our arcade stick could be anywhere from like $120 to $300, so it's in that range.
First,
Um,
who's gonna play with two people at the same time with this giant arcade stick?
in your house, it's from
Who's gonna?
old people, because the kids these days, I don't know if they're gonna really take these games seriously like they would something like Fortnite or
Yeah,
what style of game they're used to, right?
that's true.
The biggest issue I have with that price point is these games that are all in there, and there's only 16 of them.
16
There's I don't know why all of them aren't there. Every single game they've ever had
for that
that they
price.
could emulate, because each game runtime is roughly like from 20 minutes, like 15 minutes to an hour that you got to complete the game. That's how these old school arcade games were. Like 15 minutes, you could beat like Strider, like within like 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes, you could beat, what else is there? Final Fight, or.
Yeah, they have Darkstalkers. They have like
And those you could get a little bit more time off of because you could do it with like every character
Captain
that's in
Commando,
there.
Captain Commando, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll run down the games right now. They got 1944. That's what type is that?
That's a Hellbuller.
Hellbullet, right?
Yeah.
So we got
Alien vs Predator, which is a side scroller beat 'em up.
Yep. There's gonna be a lot of those. Armored Warriors is another side scroller beat 'em up, but you're in mechs. Yeah. Sports Club Basketball,
like NBA Jam.
Tennis, and Soccer.
Yeah, that's like NBA Jam, the first one. I remember. I don't.
Well, it maybe it plays like NBA Jam, but it just reminds me of something that's like a Wii Sports, basically.
Yeah.
Like a Capcom's version of Wii Sports. I'm sending you a picture right now because you might like it. You might like it because there's an Ollie in it, like legit an Ollie. He's legit. Right. Your dog is in that game, legit. Like I'm gonna show. Let me know when you get the photo.
I got you.
Captain Commando, another side scroll beat 'em up. Cyberbots is a fighting game with mechs. Jin Saotome is in it, which is hype. You see him, right? Darkstalkers, fighting game, of course, very amongst one of the more popular ones of that era. Echo Fighters is another bullet hell game. Final Fight, everybody knows that one. Another side scroll beat 'em up. Ghouls and Ghosts is an adventure game. If you really want to punish yourself and play that game,
which was already released on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that one's had. Some of these games have had multiple releases,
Absolutely.
and they could all be emulated. So I don't know. This Giga Wing, yeah, Giga Wing is cool. Mega Man Power Battle. Have you played this one? It's just basically Mega Man with only boss fights.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The only Mega Man I play are the franchise one, the ones that are like the real story ones. That's it. Every other alternation and all that stuff.
Yeah, but this is like Mega Man. All right, let me explain this one. This is Mega Man, right? And you skip the stages. You go straight to a boss fight.
Yeah, without the Mega Manning.
Yeah, you Mega Man the end, and then like you still get the boss's power afterward to go to another boss. So it's kind of like a fighting game version of Mega Man, kinda. And the 2-player aspect is you get to be like also Proto Man, Base, or Zero instead of Mega Man, which is kind of cool. But again, this is one of those games where like, it's like a fighting game, so the runtime of it is really short.
Yeah, especially.
You got a game called Pro Gear, another bullet hell game. And when we say bullet hell, guys, in case you're not familiar, it's basically you're like a little plane, and you get like a bunch of abilities to shoot in different ways while there's a billion projectiles coming at you.
I love those
games. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting.
So not turbo.
No turbo, hyper fighting.
Okay.
I don't know why hyper fighting. I don't know. Strider. Another the only other adventure game here that's another game, that's short. One game that's banned from David playing against anybody else because of a past story. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, the only puzzle game there, which is hype, but I don't need to play it on an arcade stick. Why would I want to play that?
Yeah, but it was remastered. It's been many versions of them. Yeah, this seems not comfortable to play with it.
It just doesn't feel like it's something I would pay for. If there's no incentive on getting even more games, like maybe there's like future USB versions of like 16 more games inside this $30 USB that you can plug into your arcade home thing, and you got more games in it. I don't know, something.
Yep. But look, to be honest, like even certain games here that are really good, and some of them hit the nostalgia feeling. Super Puzzle Fighter 2. Here in New York, we used to have an arcade place called Chinatown Fair, and they had that game there, and people used to play it. And I used to play that game religiously on the console. But even me being in the arcades, I would not pay money to play that game there because I know I was not going to get as much as I would love to,
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't even see the value of that there. So why would I do that now? And very awkward controller that it's not comfortable to me to just relax and sit back,
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like
well, we're going to the aesthetics. Yeah, now you said the features. We're going to the aesthetics.
So it basically, if anybody is familiar with what a fight stick looks like, it's not even shaped like that. It's shaped like the Capcom logo, which can be all right, but I'll put this into example. A long time ago, I had gotten, I don't know if it was Cutie that got it for me, or if it was me that got it myself, but it was the small arcade stick. It's like a chibi version of it, right? And it's more or less the same size where the buttons are laid out, but holding it is a little different. And I remember Brandon, shout out to Brandon, he and I went to the same Mash Fest event, and we both had the little stick. And we're like, we gave each other like, hey, we got the same stick. But towards the end of the night, I remember asking him if his wrist forearm area was like sore, because I thought, I'm getting old. I'm like, oh whoa, so I can't even hold an arcade stick all night. It's like, but then he told me, yeah, his too, and I'm like, it has to be the design of the stick that's like slightly awkward enough for someone of my size to not really
to play for a long time.
Yeah, to be able to play for a long time. So I'm wondering if this will be the same thing for how these two are shaped, and they're shaped differently. Like Cap is shaped differently than the COM part. Like player 1 is Cap, player 2 is COM. And then you got to worry about, and then whoever's listening, think of whoever your fattest friend is and trying to play with him or her next to you, and that just adds extra layer of discomfort because you have to be, at a certain angle. Like there's,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
And not only that, dude, when they were showing the preview, because they show like a little video, I think it's like a minute or something, the video, and they're showing like this thing moving around and it has buttons. I thought it was just CGI. I thought it was just computer graphics. I was like, this is not a controller. This is just graphically showing you, oh, look
Mm-hmm.
at our arcade stick. I was like, oh no, shit, this is the controller. This is the thing. Like I couldn't even tell where the buttons are, dude.
Yeah.
They just they're melded in a color. They're transparent too, so
Yeah.
you don't even see them. So obviously, this is not for younger audience. So I'm just not gonna say everyone is blind, but most likely, if these are nostalgic games, are for people that now are they probably in their 30s or 20s, something, or maybe 40s or 50s, and probably their eyesight is not the best. And this aesthetically, I can in the picture itself, you're like, where's the buttons? Like, where
And
is it?
you bringing this up actually makes me wonder, like, how easy is this thing to mod? It's like,
Yeah,
because honestly, like, this feels like it's more of a collector's item. Like, who's the demographic that they're going for?
yeah.
Who? I don't know who other than collectors. Like, are only like 100 of these gonna be made? Because then it'll make it, that it'll make it more something that people would sell out of, or like they'll sell out of the product itself. Because I don't see, they shouldn't make too many of these. I don't see this selling that well.
Look at you trying to help them not lose money. They shouldn't make too much.
Don't make too many of these. I'm telling you right now, this doesn't make any sense.
By the way, didn't DKO? We were talking about giant controllers the other, and like I told you that the giant control like care packages. Remember the
Mm-hmm.
pre-order rewards?
Yeah.
And then I said that Steel Battalion, a Capcom game, that had one of the controller was like this whole interface desk that it used to be like a mech. You had like 108 buttons or something like that, and then they were like, hold my beer, and boom, and they released this shit, dude. I'm like, what the fuck? No, it's not impressing anyone
This is
in a
gonna
good
be
way.
this. I swear, I'm telling you, this is gonna happen. Someone's gonna
It's
mod
meme
this
worthy.
thing, and you're gonna see somebody on stream
Always.
using it on Evo.
So yeah, definitely. That's actually a Twitter about someone.
Oh, somebody is already modding it.
Literally, no. Someone said this. They go by the name Mom, MOM, and it's True Orgasm. She wrote or he wrote. It says, "Gonna make a prediction right now. The Capcom Home Arcade is going to underperform even at a limited release, and it will be 30% off in 3 months from launch. And someone will empty it out and use it as a 2020 Evo as their fight stick."
Yo, see, this man is like, he sees the future too.
He or she, we don't know.
Well, this person is saying something that's probably obvious to more than just he and I, or that person and me.
Yeah, dude, like it's crazy.
How do they not see that? They're professional. They're professionals at trying to make money.
Uh-huh. And I just don't get, like, once again, you said the demographic, right? Like, where in their budgets or anything they go like, this seems like a good choice for us to keep pushing something. Like, what are they pushing for this? Are they pushing more digital consoles, that maybe digital gaming consoles that you could use on other things? Like, why? What is it? Like, where is this? This seems too expensive. Like,
Yeah,
for something that doesn't seem like it's gonna mold towards the future generations or anything later on.
how many people around that time are gonna go, oh, could use a PS4 or an Xbox. This is like $40 cheaper. That's a steal, like, who's gonna do that? Nobody.
No one. It should be like, the memes that says no one, and then it shows Capcom, and boom, it shows this shit.
Dude, you know who's gonna get these? Who's gonna buy these?
Collective.
No, rich mothers of dudes that are 40 years old going, my son used to love these.
Yeah, I just really don't get it. Like, and then what I don't get also is, like you mentioned, why not have all the games? Like, literally all the games. Arcade games, not all Capcom games.
Yeah,
games.
especially if they're not planning on updating it. If there's no plans on no
Yeah.
update on like content or anything like that, why isn't everything in there? What is the issue? Like, could we interview all of them? Like I could understand like maybe like a handful of them you couldn't get the rights for some
Licensing issues,
crazy
yeah.
reason,
Uh-huh.
but only 16 out of all the games you made? Come
When
on.
Capcom used to rule the arcades, when Capcom used to have so many arcade games, you used to go there, yo, this game was made by Capcom, that was the shit, you know. Like, I get it, like maybe the Marvel Superhero versus Street Fighter, you can't put him here because of the Marvel licenses and shit like that. But once again, the Dungeons and Dragon arcade games is not here, you know, by Capcom. All this shit is not here. Like, why is it not here? Like, Red Earth. Why Red Earth is not there? A Capcom that, right? Let me see. Release Capcom for. I think they did. Did they release Red Earth? They didn't release Red
I
Earth.
don't know if they released it for America, Red Earth.
So then, why not release it here? That would be a perfect choice, right?
People are familiar with it too, like the ones that played that crappy
Street
game.
Fighter 5. No, because Street Fighter.
Oh yeah,
5
and Street Fighter 5. Alex has the
and the ninja
Hanzo
and Kage, the ninja, not Kage, the ninja, the old dude that turns. He has the ninja outfit of Red Earth now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and yet
it's
it's
relevant.
not, and there's no cross advertising by having that here. That makes no sense. You know what would make sense if this thing came with 100 games. Tell me that you can't go 100 games and
like
go, huh? That doesn't sound so bad. 100 games.
But like this though, Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Champion Edition, doesn't matter, but at least they're there.
Yep.
But they're
all
there.
of them. All 20 all 20 Street Fighters that came out in the 90s.
Fuck it, doesn't
all of
matter.
them. Fuck it.
Just put him there. Yeah, I just don't get it, dude. And aesthetically don't get it. Price point don't get it. Functionality wise also I don't get it. Like, this is not me trying to pick it, right, and being a bully. But this doesn't have a kickstand, right? This doesn't have something that stays standing still by itself. Mm-hmm. So you need to put it somewhere. You need a table.
Yeah, the first thing I'm thinking about, like, for some reason in my head, I never put it on a table. In my head, I'm plugging this up myself, sitting on my carpet on the floor, and waiting for you to scooch over so we could play.
But that's gonna be uncomfortable.
Fucking cheek to cheek, or like our knees like uncomfortably touching. I don't know, dude. It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And then on top of that, right, it doesn't make sense of where you're going to put it, right? It doesn't bring anything to make that easier, to translate that easier. Because if you're going to be, in front of the TV to play this? Because HDMIs normally are 6 foot, right? Normally are 6 foot, right? If you're going to spend more money, yeah, you can definitely get it a longer cable. But
like 25. I think like 25 right? feet is like the popular, like, huge one.
Yeah, and that means more money. And but I mean, saying, hey, this is a fortune, but then again, I cannot value the money of others, and that means you still need to spend more than your average console HDMI to buy a longer HDMI, because that means you're not going to use your HDMI that you have connected on your console already, because it's probably 6 feet. Normally it's 6 feet, so you're not going to be up close to the TV like that. That's already straining for your eyes, straining for your hands, straining for everything, right?
That's kind of a question too. Like, how many people do you think have their console more than 6 feet away from their screen? That's like virtually no one.
And if they do, they probably have it specifically set up with a hub that is completely separated from the TV, and they have all this in a cabinet hidden somewhere. Really cool.
Like our friend, remember Ish, when we used to go to his house for the house tournaments? He had his a little far away, but that's because he had his set up on a projector screen. So it's like, it's really specific as to why he had his far away.
I just don't get it. Like, aesthetically don't get it. Functionality ways don't get it. How many games don't get it? Like, I really don't. And this, what pisses me off about these things? When Capcom start making money, we said this before, dude. They start making dumb decisions and dumb shit. Like, no one asked for this. Who asked for this? Who asked for this? Tell me, please. Who 16 people asked for this shit?
Dude,
because they better buy 16 of these, because god damn, this shit don't make no sense, dude. And people are online being also not taking it a good feedback on this, as we mentioned some of them, if I'm just gonna pick a name here that you probably know him, right? Ryan, right? Ryan F Champ.
Yeah. Filipino
great
champ,
player, Filipino champ, great player. He puts it on Twitter, right? F Champ Ryan. He puts, I was trying really hard to hold myself back but this in capital letters, but this chick sucks so, and it has like a million O's. Fucking bad, lol. You know, and once again, maybe someone expecting something else. Once again, the expectation not being clear of what is this new challenger it means to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
They should be like, stay tuned for this for retro stuff, and you be like, all right, this news not for me. So whatever it is not for me, but I'm still gonna look at it. It's not gonna impact me as bad as it is, you know. But because they didn't give no information, secret, like everyone expecting this shit, it's just the ship sail, man. You know, it's so bad. Someone put over here to just give me credit, just put in their Twitter name, you know. So I guess they get free shout outs. Fit 3D Cap put Capcom Arcade fighting game division is plagued by employees who are so disconnected from their fan base that is even funny. It isn't even funny. Actually, it's quite jarring, considering how Capcom other divisions are actually on point. And then put into parentheses, see Monster Hunter, for example. You know, and he's trying to make comparisons. Same, you know, franchise, which is Capcom, right? And two divisions just not being connected with what the people want, or reacting to people with what they're being asking for, you know. And they just releasing shit that they just think that people will want. You at this time and age, you cannot just guess what people want. You're not
Yeah.
banking on money like that. And yeah,
Even
you.
even like Samurai Showdown recently in Japan, they had a poll with a list of every single Samurai Showdown character, and they asked the community what characters would they like in the game. That's
Instead of
these.
being like, hey, I know.
Yeah, basically, it's instead of just trying to guess, what would be good. They want people to buy they their things, and they have these avenues, which is social media, where they can easily talk to the people and get feedback from the people.
Instant.
Instantly. Then right now, this guy, whoever decided on this, there's a group of old men going, nah, this is good. This is gonna work. This is gonna work.
And I get it. Social media is a very, very weird place to get feedback, but it's the place that you're gonna get the most feedback, right? Disregarding if it's good or bad, and then it's up to you to filter that shit and then see what is best for you. But yeah, it could be toxic right away. But you know what? You want responses right away. You want some information, some data on what people want. That would be the best bet before you start spending all this money on this, you know. And then on top of that, not only spending all this money on this, once again, it leaves the other people waiting for Street Fighter news, for new fighting game news, for anything else related to what they're involved, you know, maybe another tour or anything that literally their lifestyle depends on, because they're pro players. Now they're just here fiddling, you know, waiting for another news. When is gonna be their radio silent now, you know? They just don't know what's happening. Oh, this is the next big news. I wonder what else they're focusing on. You know.
Yeah, well, we'll be.
I blame good successes.
No, go ahead.
I blame successes of Capcom like Resident Evil and Monster Hunter and all Devil May Cry doing amazing things that they get on top of their head. This other obscure part of Capcom's like, oh yeah, well, we have money for this, yeah, sure, and then they release this shit. Now everything is tainted.
What would be worse if their communication, when they finally start communicating, they're like, well, we wanted to give you guys a new season of Street Fighter DLC, but we went another way this year and wanted to show you guys this, arcade cabinet that we had a cool idea for. That says Capcom, that has 16 older titles.
Yeah, but now at least they told you something else. So once again, now you know that this next news of the arcade cabinet is not dependent for you. You're just waiting for your news.
Yeah.
But when you're dry, when you're starving for information, and this is all they give you, nah, you know.
So today you told me that there might be a big problem with this. That has that has something to do with it legally being something that they're able to sell. So go ahead. I know you don't have as much info as you wanted to have for the podcast ready, but just so that people know more or less what could be the issue, go ahead.
So basically, when they come to these emulators like the Super Nintendo, this stuff, they are emulators, right? They're meant by third party people to emulate other games, right? But they're meant to not be used for monetary value, because obviously it uses copyrights of other things and such. And you're like, well, but Nintendo owns their game, they can do that. Yeah, but it's their console, right? You're selling their own console. This thing uses a program, right? This Capcom arcade cabinet uses an emulator. It's called an FB Alpha, and this emulator is basically it's an open source software with specific non-commercial license. And basically, right off the bat, this Capcom arcade cabinet is doing the opposite of what this is using the source software, but using commercial value on it because they're selling it to you, not directly, but they're selling it to you because the only way to play that in through their cabinet is using that source. So there's other comments, people are saying, yeah, but Capcom licensed FB Alpha, but there's a problem there. In order to use FB Alpha, this software wasn't created by one person. This was a collectively software created by multiple people, and the intent was for, hey, to not get sued, we make this program, but you may not, it says this, you may not sell, lease, rent, or otherwise seek to gain monetary profit from FB Alpha. That's literally the people, when they coded, this is the license they put into it. So, and this is the arcade cabinet using this. So I don't know, kind of shady, kind of weird. Maybe this is Capcom being old because they could have used any other emulator in the world, you know. And like MAME, MAME, they doesn't use that,
Yeah.
because what I end up with MAME, what it does is, as long as you own the license, then you can do monetary value on that,
Yeah.
because you own the software. In this case, using this emulator is for non-commercial license. So I don't know what's going on, but they found out that it uses arcade cabinet uses the software. So I don't know what's going to be.
I mean,
imagine they pull this shit out of the shelf.
Yeah, hopefully they get lucky and they pull this shit. That's gonna be a fucking bad investment to invest on. I guess I really don't see this working out for them.
Someone put like, did the original Xbox controller design this Capcom arcade cabinet? Because that shit is huge, bro. It just doesn't look well.
I wonder how heavy it is too. How heavy?
I have some measurements here and stuff. I just don't know how to read that.
Well, I know like the size. I just don't know like the actual
the weight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't look good, man. And not even Power Stone. Why Power Stone is not there?
Dude, that's not an arcade classic.
Oh, okay.
But I would say maybe graphically, maybe fucking Marvel 2, Marvel 1.
I don't think they can because of Marvel.
Yeah.
That's why I said that's why I don't think they put Street Fighter versus Marvel, because Marvel sucks,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they could have put anything else. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Shit is whack.
It's sad. It's just sad. And it's funny, all these people doing great announcement. We have Joker announcement for Nintendo. Xbox announced like a digital just Xbox thing.
NRS is just killing it.
NRS. Disney just released that Disney Plus thing, like a multimedia, and then and then fucks it up, bro. Brings this giant, bulky. Who asked for this? I really know who. If you know who asked for this in chat, please comment and let me know who asked for this, because you better buy a lot of these.
I know, right? The only person that asked for them.
It's just bad. It's bad. I have nothing good to say about this, and I'm not trying to be toxic. I just don't have anything good to say.
It's really hard to find any, like, again, like, I know I don't know how often we're repeating ourselves in different ways, but this thing just does not make sense. This product does not make sense for the time, the era, the price, the content you're getting in it, and yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna give it a 0 to this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
In me buying.
Like, imagine
0.
Imagine you, even if you won it. Imagine if you won it. Imagine winning this free off of some kind of contest. What are you gonna do with it? I'm still gonna try and sell it. I'm gonna get rid of this thing. I'm not. if this thing, if you win this thing off of like some contest online or something, like I'd still try to sell it. I wouldn't keep it for any reason.
I wouldn't even donate because probably people would make me pay for that donation.
I would host a tournament, right? And let's say call it a secret prize, just so I can capture the look of disappointment when they find out what the secret prize is for the winner.
It's just bad.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe,
Absolutely.
share, and thanks for listening in. Let us know what your thoughts are on this thing, because they're probably going to be the same. I would especially like to hear more from people who have a positive outlook on this, so we can argue on the chat. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening.
Please let us know.